There were kings in India who would go and fight a war and kill people, and the war will go on for 20 days, 30 days on the battlefield, not in some safe zone. They are actually in the front line fighting, but then they are trained by the yogis and they're able to maintain inner composure. How is that even possible? You are in, you're doing a violent, you're fighting, war is violent. How in the world can you maintain that? Krishna was giving the same advice to Arjuna. Seems completely impractical. Right in the middle of the war, telling Arjuna to be in yoga. I mean, how is this? Teaching bhakti, devotion to Arjuna in the middle of a war. You would think, is that the time for spiritual teaching or is it a time for war strategy? Of course, they had war strategy too. He did both. So it's very like, what has devotion to do with war? And the most important teaching, or one of the most important teachings of Krishna to Arjuna was Yogastha Kuru Karmani. Do what you need to do, but staying in yoga, union with the divine. Don't give up that union. And he also says something very radical. He says, do your job and don't worry about the results. How can you do your job if you don't worry about the results? Right? Today we say you have to set your goal first without goals. But Krishna says, whether you achieve the goal or not, don't worry about it. But you do what needs to be done for the goal. But don't worry about whether you win or lose. Is that practical? Is that a philosophy? Was that good 7,500 years ago when he lived? And is it still valid today? Or maybe Krishna, Krishna was there, so this worked. Maybe he's not there today. It doesn't work. We have to look into what is this yoga business. In modern science, they have their own understanding of yoga. They don't call it yoga, of course. They call it the unified field. The state of samadhi or yoga is just absolute emptiness, vacuum state. And all the yogis aspire for that. But people think it is empty. The vacuum state is not empty. It has very subtle excitations of its own. And these excitations create matter, have given rise to this whole universe. And if you look at the science of manifestation in India, there is a science of manifestation in India. And most people don't understand it is a science of manifestation. I'll give you a small example. If all of you have been to a Hindu temple or you have seen some Vedic ceremony where the priest will do a pranayama, a breathing exercise, and then he will put the sankalpa, the intention or the prayer of the person sponsoring the ritual. And then he will chant mantras. Then they will give offerings. Right? This is how, right? Then they make the final offering, express gratitude, and end the ritual. There's a lot going in the background if we try to understand the science behind it. Why does it matter to do breathing exercise, pranayama, before a fire ritual? What has pranayama have to do with fire ritual? It's called breath work. It's a fancy word these days. What has breath work to do with fire ritual? Why not go straight into the fire ritual? The priest has to get out of his agitated mind. And when the mind is agitated, the breath is agitated. So he's doing a breathing exercise so that within 2-3 minutes, he can put himself in a very still state of mind, very calm state of mind. Because creativity arises from stillness. So he has to get into stillness first. Then what does he do? He speaks or thinks the intent, the desire, the intention, the objective of the ritual or the person sponsoring the ritual. Then what does he do? Then he expresses that intention, not directly, but with the help of mantras that are relevant to that fire ritual. So we have stillness, we have desire, iccha, the intention, and then we have the sound, the shabda, the divine vibration that are creative. Most of the sounds are creative. Some of them are even destructive sounds, like There are sounds that destroy. There are sounds that manifest. Most sounds are creative that are used in the Vedic tradition. And this is a very beautiful process because they are mimicking God. They are mimicking God, right? And a Siddha is one who can do this whole process instantaneously. Doesn't have to spend 1 hour, 2 hour, 5 hour ritual. He intends, and within that moment, everything happens. And that is mastery of consciousness, right? And we should every day, you should use the same technology because there is no other technology, right? I'm trying to get you the essence of it. Oh, there is a coaching program. Some of you may be in it. It's called Life Coaching Program that Babaji is doing. It was a session on goal setting, but we were teaching techniques to still the mind. What has stilling the mind to do with goal setting? Everybody sets goal, but most of the time it's useless. What you really want to do is to have clarity. What is important is clarity, and that clarity will not come when we are in the ordinary state of mind. We must alter our state of mind. We must make it a very silent mind, a quiet mind. And when the mind becomes quiet, your subconscious mind knows everything. The so-called now is what the subconscious mind naturally lives. Subconscious mind naturally lives in the now. It doesn't have to, you don't have to learn how to live in the now. You need to learn how to shut down the conscious mind. So what I'm trying to tell you is, let's say you want to start a business, or you want to, invent something, or whatever you want to do. And the first thing will be, I don't know how to do it. People will say, I'm not an entrepreneur. I don't know how to do that. That's out of my range. I can't do it. I can't afford it, whatever it is. And we say that because we are thinking only at a very, very surface level. The yogis manifest in a very different way. They don't have jobs. They don't have normal jobs. They don't do business planning. They don't do any of that. They only do creative ideation. They create from their own consciousness because, it's a skill and it's a muscle that you have to develop through exercising it. So it's very, very, very essential to still the mind. How do you still the mind? One of the techniques I have used that I love is to use the sound chit, C-H-I-T, chit. Okay. But today I'm going to give you something much more simpler. Okay. Which is just focusing inside the two nostrils and becoming aware of prana, not breath. Forget the breath. Becoming aware of prana, that mentally you become aware of prana in the space inside the two nostrils. Just becoming aware of prana is the ultimate technique of longevity. Nowadays, people are very interested in longevity, right? The yogis have the ability to live long because of mastery of prana. That is the only secret they have for their longevity.